From the Middle is proud to be a founding member of Odd Pods Media. Hey, boy wolves and girl wolves, that's really hard to say. Welcome to episode number 285 of From the Middle. What's From the Middle, you say? Well, we're a comedy, culture, entertainment, and sometimes interview-style podcast. And who's we, you ask? Well, we're three middle-class guys living in the middle of America in the middle chapters of our lives with opinions that generally fall somewhere in the middle. But in this episode, we kind of get out there on the fringes of these topics. In this episode, we're going to talk about how we figured out where furries are born. We teach you how to determine how serious your health issues might be as you age, how to interpret musicals, and are super curious about which hills you're willing to die on no matter how silly the matter. For example, what is the appropriate angle for stapling papers together? And does anything eaten first thing in the morning count as breakfast food? We would love to hear your thoughts. So comment below, comment on YouTube, or call in or text our inbox. Description on how to do that is below. Enjoy.
Oh, for the love. Sorry, just clearing my Mountain Dew hole.
I got my phone hole cleaned today.
That's where you keep it? You're so cerebral and you're so developed and evolved.
From the Middle after dark over here.
Do you ever do something physical as far as like working outside or you're working on a project of some kind? Anyways, you can like feel your heartbeat like up into your like head, and you just it's like intense. I don't just mean your heart's beating fast. I mean like you can almost feel your body like pulsing with your heart. Has that ever happened? Is that a thing? I don't think I was having a heart attack, to be clear.
Yeah, that has happened before. Yes.
Okay.
I think the frequency of that happening could be a thing.
Rare. I think
Okay.
I know what spawned it, but that's why. So that's why I wanted to ask. I didn't know if it was common for you or rare, or maybe you'd be like, dude, that sounds bad. Go to the ER. So it's currently
Somebody listening is probably screaming, dude, that sounds bad. Go to the ER.
I was going to say, usually a good indication that you should slow down doing whatever you were doing to trigger the response.
Yeah.
Keep going.
That's a great tee up for the story. So currently it's snowing at my house and the weather says it feels like it's 8 degrees. Well, a couple weeks ago, before it snowed for the first time, Bree, in an effort to be my wife, in an effort to be helpful, is reading an article about how many people, as they get older, suffer heart attacks while they're out shoveling snow, and to be careful, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, she's reading the article and I'm listening for things that are like, here's the main takeaways from the article. So keep your legs moving, pace yourself. It's good to keep moving, but move slowly. Don't move too fast. Don't try to work too fast. But it's good to keep blood flowing by moving. So I'm like trying to log away some of this stuff, thinking I'm going to have to go out and shovel in the snow. And I think in trying to prepare myself to shovel the snow, I think I might have been thinking too much about what I was doing. And so as I'm shoveling, and I felt like I was pacing myself, but as I'm shoveling, I'm now really in my own head, and I have like the hat on, so it's kind of covering my ears. So I think I can hear everything a little like, so I get to the point where I'm like almost done. So I sped up a little bit, and now I'm very keenly aware of how like fast my heart is beating, and like I feel it into my head, and I'm like, oh, I need a break. So I don't often get like paranoid or anxious about that kind of stuff, but I think I was extra in my head after hearing about the article about how many people suffer heart attacks, because it's more strenuous activity than most people do. You might, across the course of however long you're shoveling, shovel a couple 1,000 pounds of snow. I don't know. Lots of snow. You might shovel a lot of snow, and it's just more exercise than most people get. So it's kind of, I think it makes sense. I think I'm past it now. I don't think I need an ER trip, but I also now am a little in my head about shoveling snow, and I'm going to have to really baby, what about Bob baby steps it next time? And just one, take it real slow. You don't have to lift it all. You can just push across the driveway and shove it off at the end. I'm really in my head now about how I pace myself when I shovel.
Mm.
I don't know if you can
Yeah.
relate, and maybe I shouldn't have shared that story. Maybe this is like somebody talking about getting a shot with needles, and
Well,
then you start thinking,
I'm sure some people are now concerned. I have a lot of thoughts, but this is
yeah,
welcome to nearing 40 in the new decision tree that you have to consider when you experience a new pain or
Yeah.
or
yeah,
situation where you go like, I used to think that this is just a result of like running around with my friends.
yeah,
Now I'm like, oh, I just shoveled a little bit of the driveway. Uh, Kendall and I are 40 now. You're knocking on the door. And yeah, these are the things that you have to start weighing. I have a few of these from the past few weeks myself, but I'll let Kendall respond first.
No, I do think that this would be a good time to remind people that you might feel young and invincible, but you are not, and it's still a good idea to have an annual checkup with a physician
mhm,
um, every year to say things such as, "Hey, I was shoveling my driveway once last winter, and this thing happened," and then just do whatever that person says to do.
yeah. That makes
Um,
sense.
so I think everybody should. I went a lot of my adult life without having a doctor because I just didn't care. I think probably like a lot of men do.
Yeah,
And then I got married and then I started seeing a doctor again. So, and I feel better for it.
good.
Good. It's a
Yeah,
good thing. It's a good
maybe I'll wear my Apple Watch out next time to keep track of my heart rate, so it'll alert you like, "Hey, your heart rate's really high."
thing.
Maybe that's a good
Well,
tip.
in this same vein, Dylan, last week or have I talked to you guys about the result of my conversation with the specialist about my shaky hand situation?
No,
No.
Okay, so I
I
went to the
forgot about the shaky hand
yeah,
situation.
exactly. I went to the neurologist. I was referred by my GP, and he goes, "Yeah, like I told you guys, if you're new to the story, I had a shaky hand situation. I wasn't too concerned. My wife was. She made me promise to at least ask my GP. I asked him. He said, I'm not even overly concerned based on how often you say it's not happening and the situations that it's happening. But if you'd like to sleep better at night, and if your wife would, I can refer you to a specialist." So that's the tee up. So I went after the first of the year. I explained the situation. Super cool guy. He ended up being a huge Star Wars fan, so we talked about that for a while. And he goes, "Hey, dude, stop watching Michael J. Fox documentaries. Uh, I think you're fine." He goes, I would refer to this as what I call a central tremor. It's not concerning if you have no family history of Parkinson's or anything. I would not be at all worried. Sounds like it probably just happens after you do things like shovel your driveway or do a lot of physical work with that hand. But if it's not getting in the way of you doing anything, I don't think we need to talk anymore unless you want to come back and talk about Star Wars sometime. So that was very reassuring. But this is why you check. This is why you just confirm and make sure you're doing it. So here's my new one. Maybe TMI, but I have one pair of jeans that I love to wear because they look great, but they're not the most comfortable. And the belt buckle, when you bend over, kind of pushes into your lower abdomen a little bit. And I wear them a lot. And one day I'm running up the stairs from the basement, and that area where the belt buckle normally hits, just excruciating pain. Like, no exaggeration. Like, I doubled over. I went, and I was like, what is happening?
Oh wow.
So I kept an eye on it, and I was like, that's weird. Switch those jeans. It's winter. We're in the house a lot in pajama pants and sweatpants and things like that when you work from home. And then a different day, maybe a day or two later, I cough, and the cough sets it off like a sharp, like a tear, like somebody stabbed between my belly button and like then. And so this is the decision tree. Do I tell my wife? how bad is the pain on a scale of 1 to 10? What are the things that this could be? Appendicitis. You start going, then you do the Google, which side of your body is that, lower right or lower left? Like you do the whole, and then, oh, it's lower left. Okay, that's the non-scary side. Then the next part of the decision tree could be a hernia, could be a tear in the abdomen, could be that you're wearing too tight of jeans and large belt buckles. No, that wasn't one of them, but that's what I deduced that the problem was. Then now that the serious things are gone, you've informed your wife. So here's how I think about this. If something happens to me in my sleep, I let her know. I flagged it with her that there was an issue so she could tell the paramedics.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did say something recently about an excruciating pain in his lower abdomen. So that box is ticked. And then the last part of the decision tree is what we all do. Let's just see what happens after a few days.
Yeah.
Let's see if it goes away. And it did. So it ended up being nothing. But Dylan, I'm trying to relate to you that these are the things that you have to start to think through when you're nearing 40.
Well, on theme of guys in the being in the middle of our lives, this feels like a relevant talking point. And it is stuff. You should go to your doctors. I went to a doctor's appointment this morning. Everything's good. And it is important. Alternatively, or not alternatively, but yes, make sure not to pay attention to the kind of things that could freak you out, like coming in from shoveling and then seeing literally a cartoon as if Google was listening, to where an old school, like Far Side style cartoon that shows a guy in a snow cap with a snow outfit and a shovel at the pearly gates of heaven. And St. Peter says, another one that on my feed, as if it knew what I was thinking about. Ignore that stuff. Ignore that stuff that seems to be on brand with exactly what your wife has told you about people dying from heart related issues, shoveling. So go see your doctors and ignore the haters, is what I'm saying.
If we keep this podcast going, it's going to be from the final chapters, and it's going to be like, what were the things that got them? And those can be the cautionary tales of the things that we ignored.
Yeah. Well, Corey did tell me about his belt buckle, so we should have known.
Yeah.
Should have known it was a problem.
Form over function.
Well, guys, speaking of lifestyle changes, I found out where furries are born.
Oh.
It is at the Great Wolf Lodge. They are furry factories, essentially, is what they are. So I was away last week, and Great Wolf Lodge is where my family and I were. Just as the kids were supposed to be heading back into school, which is the cheaper time to go on such a trip. And I'm looking up stuff sort of like on our way there. And I find out that there's going to be mascots running around. And I'm like, oh, I can imagine what these mascots look like. And indeed, they are. Here's the thing. They are wolf mascots, obviously. Male and female wolves. There's a raccoon and there's others. And I remembered seeing what I did not know at the time were Great Wolf Lodge masks. And so like it was the same, especially the female Great Wolf Lodge. Her name is Violet. Wolf mask or head. Are they called masks? I don't know. Mascot heads. I think that's a relatively popular thing to wear as a furry. I think that maybe it's easier to come by and find. You don't have to like make it yourself or anything crazy. And so we're I feel like in our last two outings with the kids, we're 2 for 2 on finding furries, which is fun. And then they hand everybody out these wolf ears. I think just to get you started on that track.
Yeah.
And if you go to Great Wolf Lodge enough times, maybe they give you a tail another time and other things. Corey is pulling up.
All right, which one are we? Which one?
The one. So look at the very first image, the one in the purple shirt.
Okay,
that's Violet, and she looks a lot like a lot of what I saw at the furry convention.
I really want them to give you a matching piece of fur that would go right in the middle of your chest, that like Velcros onto your shirt, just to have like a little spot on your chest and belly would be great.
Yeah. So, and even like, so for those of you who are not on YouTube, I'm wearing my wolf ears right now, and looking at myself in them, it it looks ridiculous. I want to take them off. But you want to know what I don't want to take off? Is this bad boy right here. Right here. Oh, this guy. This guy.
Nice.
This guy. Yeah. See, this is why you go to Great Wolf Lodge.
That's sharp.
If you're the kind of guy who's into wolf t-shirts, which I wasn't, but I am now.
I'd like an update on Instagram in a couple months with a shot of your closet with like 16 wolf shirts. And they all need to be different. All different styles and types of AI art and whatever people are putting on shirts these days.
You know, I had gotten this shirt, and like I was by myself in the gift shop when I got this shirt, and it's because it was on the last day. Like it was a situation where we had already checked out, but we still have the passes for the water park, and it's stupid hot and humid in there, and all I had was a sweatshirt to wear. And so before I went in there, the family was already in there, and Amy and I weren't going to be, or at least I wasn't going to be partaking in any swimming that day. And so I went to the gift shop and I bought the t-shirt, and I was like walking around the pool area in my wolf t-shirt, and the kids and Amy saw it and started laughing. And then Amy's like, that shirt actually looks really good on you. And she was talking about like the fit in the cut of the shirt, not that it was a wolf shirt. So the joke has been ever since then, guys, Mama really likes Daddy in wolf t-shirts. So this is what I want for Christmas gifts now is wolf t-shirts.
Well, maybe you don't like the ears, but maybe she does,
Have you've seen the resurgence of like the tacky wolf howling at the moon t-shirt? Like, takes up the whole shirt. Like that's like a look now.
Yeah, I told her like I want to get that tattooed on my back, and like a full-size back tattoo. I used to have a tie that was a wolf howling at the moon kind of thing. And here's the thing, and I thought about this, Corey, with your opinion on puns that nobody actually finds them funny. We're just doing it because we think it's funny to be cringy. And I have a specific thought that I think is related to that when it comes to wolf t-shirts. And here's the thing. I actually like this wolf t-shirt.
Right.
As I was looking at the wolf I actually do like them.
Yeah.
Now, I don't like them in an ironic fashion. That doesn't mean I don't also recognize that people think it's cringy.
Right. So
I'll make a joke out of it, but that doesn't mean I don't actually like the t-shirt. I think the same thing is true with a lot of puns. I actually like most of the pun jokes that you would find cringy, and I might chuckle and laugh at the person that I might have told the joke to. That doesn't mean I'm using the joke for that purpose. It doesn't mean I don't actually find the joke funny. It just means I also recognize that there's this thing about it. Does that make sense?
Yes. Totally and completely. And you have shared before that you have a history of being somewhat contrarian. And so does the knowledge that it's cringy and a thing add a second layer of liking to the thing?
It does. It does.
You like, I like the design of this flame. The flames are creating the shape of a wolf head. That's dope. And I know that it's going to be like a thing. And because of that, I like it even more.
Yeah, I actually like it. And I make the joke about my wife wanting me more of them because I know that that's not what she means.
Yeah.
So that all makes sense.
Cool.
But it was such a great, I'm going to take these stump things off.
Do you think
do
you think we can give a little credit to Dwight Schrute for the episode where they go to the convention and he wears the wolf t-shirt? Do we feel like that probably, with how much that show got watched the last decade, probably contributed at least partially to them being cool again?
Maybe. I think that was a product of the time instead of informing the time. But
I don't know.
Yeah, sure, why not?
I mean, you're talking early 2000s though. I don't remember anyone seriously wearing wolf t-shirts like in a cool setting, quote, cool setting in the early 2000s. I feel like they
I
had
guess it
Dwight
depends
wear
on
it.
who you're around.
Yeah, I
Like
feel like they had Dwight
I've been
wear it
around
because it was cringy.
I've been around wolf t-shirt mullet wearing people literally my whole life. So
Yeah,
um
Ohio, that's true.
so it hasn't necessarily gone away, but
Yeah,
that could be part of it.
Yeah, you're I like your story and I love the breakdown. These are the things we should be discussing. I love it.
Yeah.
I am so less annoyed with that process and so much more annoyed with the person who goes, I don't like that. I think it's tacky, but I want to be the type of a guy seen with that because it's ironic and I want to annoy people and make a thing of it.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Because it does seem like so wolf t-shirts and mullets and things like that. Um, I feel like they've gone full circle to a point where in the mainstream, it was ironic and funny to have a mullet. But there were still like legit mullets out there, just not as many of them. Whereas today, there's a lot of legit mullets out there, more than there were when we were kids growing up. Not as many as there were in like the early 80s, but more than there were in the early 2000s for sure.
so you're saying mullets per capita are still down,
I'm saying they've gone up.
but they're on the rise,
I think they're on the rise. Yeah.
but down from the 80s.
Hey, I just went to a wedding and the groom had a mullet.
I'm sure a handful of states, including but not limited to Ohio, are tracking mullets per capita. So I think that's an important statistic.
It is an important thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is maybe like related. I'm going to share. So one of the producers of Bad Friends, he's been a friend of Bobby's for a while. His name's Carlos Herrera. I'm going to show you his haircut. Okay. This is good. Okay, hold on. Pulling it up if you're following along on YouTube. And this is kind of the look I'm trying to rock right now. This is his hair. You guys
Yeah.
see?
Uh-huh.
This is his actual hair.
Yeah.
This is his look with the hat on. Cool look.
It's a cool look with the hat on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool look with the hat on. With the hat off, I mean, you guys describe it because I'm biased. I know
It's a skullet.
it's a skull.
It's a mullet, but he's got male pattern baldness.
It looks like
And it's unkempt.
it looks like if a younger John Malkovich was trying to look homeless for a film.
Sure.
I'm trying to paint a picture for the non-YouTubers.
So
Yeah. Go ahead.
okay, so they go on tour together. He's got a wonderful personality. He's funny. They're like, he gets chicks in every city we go to. Like, this is not a deterrent for the females. He's a young single man. He's rocking this look with total confidence. And I think that's the difference. If you just rock it with confidence, I don't think he's doing it to, that is his current hair situation. And he's like, looks awesome with the hat, looks absolutely terrible without one. Don't care. This is me. I'm hilarious. I'm rocking what I'm working with.
I think there's something to be said for the guy who actually doesn't care, right?
Right.
I think that's the good place to be.
So there's that. I
believe.
haven't had one of my work meetings in, let's see, November, end of November, beginning of, so I'm letting my hair grow. And it looks great right here. Not so much right here.
Yeah.
Just lean into it.
I was just like, I wonder how long I can let it grow during the break. Anyway, yeah, these are the things we should be discussing.
Important questions, solving world problems. It is interesting. It kind of has a young. It reminds me of how like I'm blanking all of a sudden on his name. Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David. It reminds me of how Larry David has never shied away from the hair just kind of poofing out on the edges.
Mhm.
You know, it's just never had a problem with it. He probably really doesn't care. and at all. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about. Like, it's just him. That's just Larry David, and it is.
Yeah.
So Sherry watches Frasier every night to go to bed. That's what she falls asleep to, the original series. And in one of the episodes the other day, I mean, Frasier has a large head, and he has that look, the very poofy, curly sides, almost nothing on top. And in one of the episodes, Martin says, "You're 41" or whatever. I don't know what actual age he was in the first couple seasons of filming, but Martin says that he's supposed to be around 41. And I was like, he just like rocked that look.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I'm not suggesting that this is the direction I go in because I would overthink it too much.
Yeah.
I don't have the confidence with this look to make it look like I don't care about how it looks. I totally care how it looks.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget what James Taylor said, fire it before it quits on you. But like, how did Frasier did that for 10 seasons?
11 plus Cheers. I think it helps when you're a beloved television character. I think that helps a lot.
It's got that going for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty big thing to have going for you, is being a beloved television icon. Same with George Costanza. I mean, that's a thing
Yeah.
that's been a question. Like, Jerry dates lots of women. George dates lots of women. I think George, the people have done the tallies. I think the George character dates significantly more than Elaine. And sometimes people want to know George isn't traditionally a good looking guy,
Mhm.
where Kramer has more of the crazy, cool, confident, really doesn't care thing, where George clearly does care as a character. He's seemingly far less confident.
And he talks about it, right? Like
And he talks
it's
about it.
clear that he cares.
It's
And-
clear that he cares, yeah. But like, there's something to that still he makes it work. And I know it's just a show, but like, he was also, Jason Alexander was also popular outside of the show.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, but I think privately he's probably pretty confident. In the show, he clearly was not, but I don't know. Be a beloved TV or media icon.
I'm just throwing up lots of fun images. Dylan, what was the thing we were talking about the other day that we broke down 6 ways to Sunday that I was like, yes, this is what we should be talking about?
Well, speaking of things we were watching, I think it spawned from me watching or listening to the Wicked soundtrack.
Oh yeah, musicals.
And I asked a question about musicals. Do we want to do a break and then come back with that, or do we want? Let's do that, because that feels like a longer conversation. Kendall will want to weigh in. So let's take a minute, hear from some of our friends at Odd Pods Media, and we'll be right back with a musical themed question for you.
Hey, this is Grab and Brisket Podcast. Join us every Monday where we talk about the latest trends in barbecue, interviews with world top pitmasters, celebrity cooks,
Ooh, like Wee Man from Jackass.
and musicians.
Like Rich O'Toole?
So check us out. We do beer reviews, barbecue fails.
So many fires.
Dude, a lot of people just burn their houses down for no reason.
We also talk about cocaine hippos versus Beth Gators,
Learn how to make some tailgate gravy.
altercations with Texas Rangers.
People throwing Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah, so check out grabthebrisket.com for podcast info, viral social media posts, and so much more.
All right, so here's the question. Here's essentially what I asked. When you're watching any kind of musical, movie, TV, live show, doesn't really matter, but it's a musical. Do you accept that all of the songs are happening within the universe, meaning everyone hears them, acknowledges there's times to talk, times to sing, people sing, nobody reacts oddly to the song or the dance, and then goes back about their day? Do you just accept that it's all happening in real time in the reality of the program?
That is a world in which that is an acceptable behavior.
Yeah, or are you constantly trying to go through the context of the thing and decide if each number is really happening in the universe, or is it that in universe, let's say a couple is in love and they're singing a duet, or could it be that a couple is actually just having a conversation in the universe, but you're seeing a musical representation of the emotions of the conversation that they're having, as an example. So I'm not saying, what I'm saying is how you process it. I accept that there's probably media where it's both. There's like, you can have an aside in a show where you're talking directly to the audience or something's just for the audience. I'm not saying does it ever happen. I'm saying, how does your brain process it? Do you just watch the whole thing and accept it all as is? Or is there a quasi game for you of deciphering song by song? Is this actually a moment where I'm seeing a literal thing happen in this show, or should I be accepting this moment as
So
a
in that example, maybe this number was one of the characters' imaginations. Everybody else sort of like paused.
right?
They had this little aside thought, imaginative
Yeah.
song and dance number. And as soon as they're done singing, everybody that was paused like keeps walking in step with
Yeah.
right where
Within
Right.
the universe, right? So like
Yeah, yeah.
the characters might even be moving in the song literally, but like it's really happening in the character's head, or it's a representation of what's happening in their head.
Yeah. No, I get it. I think for most musicals, by and large, my brain accepts it as happening real time. It is happening not only within the context, but it is part of the context of what's happening at that time. So the first option. But I can think of circumstances where the second option has happened, and I think that the writers of the musical wanted it to seem like it was an aside, and so therefore my brain automatically assumed it's as such. And usually for those, there is some kind of there's a cue in body language that happens, or like the lights go down on the backdrop and like the lead just kind of like steps out into a spotlight and sings and then comes back in and a party resumes. So those ones I interpret as an aside, but by and large, almost all, except for those few exceptions where I feel like I've been led to think that this is happening and like in their thoughts, I accept it as context.
Yeah. And there's no right or wrong, to be clear. I'm not saying how people do it. I guess part of the question is like, depending if somebody's able to just accept all and enjoy the show, maybe I'm overthinking. Or maybe for some people, the overthinking is interesting. Maybe for some people that if they're the latter, if they don't, if some people are like, nope, I just accept it all. I don't sit and think about each song. I don't go through any mental gymnastics trying to figure out. It all happens. It's easy. That's great. I wonder if some people do the latter. So to your answer, Kendall, do you find that to be almost like a game or part of the experience? Or is it like a taxing thing, but your brain just has to figure it out? You're just trying to work through. It's like, I can't enjoy the next song or the next thing until I figure out whether I think this is part of the in-universe experience or not. Do you enjoy that?
I've never thought of it. I've never thought about it.
Never thought about whether you enjoy it or not. You just process it, that part of it.
I mean, I've never had to sit and my brain has never forced me to stop and think like, did this actually happen?
Yeah.
Because I just accept that it actually happened.
Mostly you just go, yeah, it's just cool song. Next, what's the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just following this story of the play and I accept that music happens sometimes.
Yeah. This is kind of like this is kind of like figuring out if I was dying while shoveling. I'm trying to figure out what's normal. Trying to figure out what's normal and what's not normal. What's my brain working harder than it has to be?
Yeah. I mean, I considered it as you were asking the question, and then I thought back on some musical experiences because I already knew that I was with you on your first explanation of options. I was like, oh yeah, that's what I do. However, I can also think of these circumstances where it was clear that this was a thought that happened aside from the story, and you were inside of the vocalist's thoughts at that point in time.
Yeah.
I'm inside our listeners' thoughts right now going, who cares? No, but I care. We care. Okay, this is a great response online. So somebody this is essentially the argument of diegesis versus non-diegesis. In other words, is this thing literally happening within the world of the story, or is it someone's non-literal interpretation of what's happening? The thing about musicals is that it really does depend on the musical, and occasionally it depends on the specific song, and occasionally it even depends on the specific lines/verses within a song. In most musicals, the songs are non-diegetic. They are not literally happening within the world of the show. In Les Mis, the entire population of Paris isn't literally spending a night singing in perfect counterpoint about what they're planning to do the next day. In Dear Evan Hansen, Evan isn't literally wandering around the school singing about not fitting in. And it gives other examples. I like this one. In the Heights, the population of Washington Heights isn't literally singing/rapping about what each of them would do with $96,000.
Yeah.
But there are examples when it is. In Cabaret, Kit Kat Club, the guy who didn't like musicals, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I love this. There's tons of people writing about it. But that's, if you want a term for what we're discussing, it is diegesis. I think my favorite examples of this are when someone in the musical is questioning what we're questioning and going like, oh, wait, are we just all going to stop and sing right now? Like it's a self-aware musical, sort of like making fun of musicals.
Yeah.
Like those examples are the most fun for me. I think of like, and this is the example I gave to Dylan the other day in Enchanted, slightly different because it's two different worlds that Amy Adams is engaging in. Where it's like some people are in on the joke and some people aren't. It's fun. One of my favorite things to ever happen in my entire show choir career was when one of the schools we were competing against did a song making fun of show choir and all the hairspray and there's sequins all over the floor and we're all exhausted, but we're all just trying to flirt with the other people from the other schools. Like their musical number was about making fun of how ridiculous and silly show choir can sometimes be. So anyway, I love these conversations.
Yeah, and there's a handful of different kind of overlapping questions because we know some songs are in the universe and some are not. That's not the question. It's whether people can, or at least wasn't the initial question. It was a later question. But it's whether people can just take everything as surface level and just enjoy it as is, or if their brain forces them to sit and decipher song by song what the intention is for each. And some people might enjoy that practice and some people might not. But yes, it's also funny when you have things like Enchanted or things that are self-aware. That's a different kind of overlapping question within the theme of like the humor of acknowledging the silliness of what you're probably thinking. You know, if I'm watching Lion King, I don't think lions sing. So there's clearly examples where it's not meant to be taken as like the lions don't sing in the universe. But I do.
They also don't talk.
Yeah,
So there's that.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So it's so interesting, like just how people like to process some of this kind of stuff. Myself.
So Kendall, where Dylan and I got with it was I said, I like to just watch the musical thinking that there is a world out there where everyone just accepts singing. And I suspend disbelief. And I enjoy it more because I'm not overthinking whether or not each song is in the person's head or not. And then I said, isn't that funny? Because what I'm basically doing is saying I'm willing to underthink if it serves me in my enjoyment of the thing more. Why can't I just apply that to regular life? Like, why can't I just underthink in real life?
Do you feel like that? Yeah. Do you feel like that's a decision that you made with watching musicals, or had you never really considered that before?
I hadn't considered it. I have a much more enjoyable experience if I don't even factor that in. I just enjoy it. I'm like, and then so we were
right.
Like,
so you hadn't factored that in,
right? So
but now you will.
Now I will. And now why can't you just apply that to regular life?
Because Dylan,
you will enjoy life more if you don't worry about it and just accept what is happening.
Now
let
everyone's
your hair grow, take your hat off, go watch a musical, and just calm down.
Yeah. Now everyone's going to worry more about heart attacks and enjoy musicals less because of this episode. So you're welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah, we live to serve. And then Dylan, you referenced Seinfeld again and said like So basically, like the episode where George goes against all his normal instincts and better judgment and finds it to be really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the gist of like maybe underthinking could serve you really well if you applied it more broadly, like George going against all his core instincts, ordering the opposite foods, going up to a woman to say hello when he wouldn't normally. Maybe that's essentially our version of underthinking. We connected the dots on all of it without even trying. Maybe that's it. Maybe that would help.
Maybe.
Below the
Maybe.
really stupid upper crusty layer of our conversations is really powerful, meta, philosophical, interesting points. Someone needs to take these one day and distill them down to what we're actually saying so that they can be beneficial to the rest of society. We just stay on the upper crusty layer.
Yeah.
Maybe. I feel like maybe in 1,000 years, maybe sometime there'll be like a video version or a podcast version of today's English lit classes. Who'll like take stupid podcasts like this and like we're just saying dumb stuff and whatever and talking very sort of there's nothing to it, but someone's going to dissect it and someone's going to put a whole bunch of meaning into it. And we've talked about that before. Do authors of all these books that we had to read in high school, did they actually intend all the things that our English teachers are telling us that they intended? Or did they just write a fun story? Like,
Yeah.
anyway.
If anyone's listening 1,000 years from now, I'll just go ahead and settle it. This was just supposed to be fun. So we didn't intend, for the most part, to go that deep. But here we are.
And none of us are under the influence of anything prior to these conversations.
Sure.
This is just how they
Also
come
true.
out organically.
Yep. Cold glass of milk is about it, you know. Well, I did find a fun question. Do you guys want a silly internet question that people had silly responses to?
Yeah.
Why stop now?
Yeah, here's another one. This is another dumb question that's just not my dumb question this time. But here was the question, and I'll read some of the initial threads if you have some of your own. This kind of almost feels pet peeves adjacent. So if that tickles your brain, then enjoy this. What is the dumbest hill that you're willing to die on? And the person that originally asked the question said, for me, it's the idea that there's no such thing as, quote, breakfast food, and the fact that it's darn near impossible to get a burger before 11 a.m. is bullcrap. I don't know what by no such thing as breakfast food means, but the burger before 11 a.m. is fun. If you guys have a take on the breakfast food, let me read a couple more responses. Commercials should be required by law to be quieter than the show or movie. That's a hill they're willing to die on. Not everything
for marketing purposes, they actually flip that, and the commercials are often louder than whatever's being broadcast on purpose. Anyway,
yeah, it should be. It'd be great.
It should be the other way around, but they make it the other way around on purpose. Anyway.
Yeah. I shouldn't need to create an account just to see your website. And especially if you sell me something, you just lost a customer who doesn't know what your product is. And kind of related, where did that one go? Not everything needs to be an app. Just take me to a freaking website. I feel that one. The number of it's like the mobile redirects to an app store because they want you to do. I want none of that. Let's see. The number of times I've been told I shouldn't be eating soup, quote, because it's not winter, is ridiculous. Let's see. Feel free to throw any that you think of.
Well, I was going to say, is this like the plural of Lego is Lego? Is this like too petty? Is that like a too petty example?
Well, it's what's the dumbest hill you're willing to die on?
It's for, you're answering this for yourself.
Yeah, so it's like things that if it came up in conversation, you'd be like, all right, I actually care about this, like, but would seem silly to most people.
Yeah. So I would say a hill that you would die on. Don't take that literally, obviously.
Sure.
But maybe let's redefine that as I will interrupt a conversation to say something.
I'm sorry. I have strong feelings about this.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's Lego. I just, it's not your fault. It's new. I understand a lot of us didn't know. but it's just from now on. It's Lego. It's
Yeah.
the plural of Legos. All capitals too, by the way, when you're texting. So,
Yes, please. Yes.
thank you.
Here's one. Documents should be stapled at a 45-degree angle because that is the angle at which you'd fold the turned page. And then the follow-up comment to that is pretty great. If I'm stapling something for someone I'm not very fond of at work, I will staple it at a proper angle in the exact opposite direction. It's the only clue in the workplace that I don't like someone. I'll never open my mouth and badmouth them, but I'll improperly staple their crap to the moon.
Is this Reddit? Like, I love.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I love how Reddit filters the best comments and responses. That is so hilarious and petty.
Police siren sound effects should be banned in music.
Oh, that's funny.
I get it. Everyone, this feels like the old angry guy on a porch. Everyone's headlights are way too bright now. It's a hazard, and there's no point in having brights anymore if your headlights are by default blindingly bright.
Those halogens are a pain. Oh man, these are funny, dude. I'm gonna need some time to think. These are good.
Yeah, like I know that some have come up in our conversations before.
For sure.
Having a hard time coming across them now, but like I know that this happens with the definition of like I would feel urged to like jump in and say something, and if I didn't, I really wanted to.
I know one of yours, and they're tangential to like pet peeves, but also like unpopular opinions. If if the shoe fits, yours is the ironic song.
Oh yeah. If I hear that song, I'm probably going to explain to somebody how nothing in that song was so ironic.
If it's playing, you're like, do you guys know that actually nothing in this? I know. It's a common wrong definition of the.
And it was brought to my attention by a comedian a long time ago who did a bit about it. And ever since then, it has bothered me. The song Ironic has bothered me because of this. I forget her name, the comedian, but it was a long time ago. She did a bit on it. And I stole her line of it's ironic finding a dictionary in Alanis Morissette's home. That would be ironic.
Well, one that I'm not ready to die on the hill, but I'm slowly marching myself up it. If you're not gonna bring Heinz, it's not worth bringing anything at all to a cookout or barbecue. It's because it's just the other ketchup is so much worse. It's probably just better to not even bring anything else.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Breakfast is whatever I eat first. It could be ramen or birthday cake. It has driven my parents nuts my whole life. I eat cereal for dinner more than at breakfast time.
I'm with them on that one. I'm sorry. My brain just wants to like give commentary on all of the examples instead of trying to come up with my own.
You can do that too. Give commentary.
Hamburgers for breakfast is a thing at Burger King. You can do that every morning. So there is that. But I like breakfast food more. But I love sweet breakfast foods, so like pancakes and waffles and that kind of thing. I'm not a fan of those things for breakfast. So I feel like kind of like this person. Like I don't want super carby. I don't want sweet at all for breakfast. I don't want donuts for breakfast. I don't want a cinnamon roll for breakfast. I want like eggs, bacon, toast is what I want. I love those things, especially waffles. But I'd rather not have to eat them in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, the core of this question is the word breakfast a time of day, or is it an adjective for a food?
Yeah, and it's almost an unpopular opinion question. Like, you can literally cook burgers for breakfast anytime and no one will care. But like the stigma of, oh, what'd you have for breakfast? Oh, I had a cheeseburger. What time was your cheeseburger? 9 a.m. What do you mean it's that? It's like,
is there anybody who would argue that wasn't their breakfast?
I think there would be people that would be like, you can't have
because it's a cheeseburger.
Yeah, just like there are people who would be like, you're having soup in the summer. Like, why would you? It's hot. It's hot. Why would you have soup?
Huh. Okay.
I think there would be.
Is there anybody listening to this who, if somebody, you might think it's odd that they chose a cheeseburger for breakfast, But you're wouldn't be willing to concede that they ate breakfast, that they ate a burger for breakfast.
No.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't think
wanna
that
meet,
exists.
I want to meet this person who says, yes, it doesn't qualify because it is not a food typically associated with that time of day.
If it's not an omelet or a toast or bacon, then it wasn't
You
breakfast.
didn't have breakfast.
I don't think anybody would say that.
I'm gonna plead if anyone is still listening at this point. I'm gonna plead using the word plead. I'm begging for responses to this because I'm so intrigued. Whether you would agree or disagree, please hit us up on socials or email, or you can text the number in our link. I really want takes from both sides on this and be like, no, I wouldn't. It's not allowed to be called breakfast. You just had an early lunch because it was a cheeseburger at 9 a.m.
If there are a bunch of people who would say that that person did not eat breakfast, then clearly we found one of mine.
Yeah.
And I'm on their side.
This is what happened when we put it up to the guys on Grab 'em in the Brisket of like, is a Pop-Tart ravioli? Is a hot dog a sandwich? Are certain things tacos? And then they're just like, no. And then
I love
and then
how
John was like,
I love how pissed off they get that we would
Yeah.
even ask a question.
I
It's
know.
funny.
And then John was like, yeah, but why though? And he's like, because tacos are tacos.
Like, these guys have too much time on their hands. Why are they? It's kind of like the pun thing. Like they're just upset that we asked.
No, the quote was they need to check their privilege because they have the time to discuss these things. Cheers, boys.
Yeah. Here's a related one to the breakfast and a frequent topic for us, pizza. Somebody says, my wife and I argue about, quote, cold breakfast pizza. I think it's a thing. She doesn't.
What, just like leftover pizza for breakfast? Is that what we're talking
like
about?
it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
a normal thing to eat it. I think it's normal.
I think it's very normal.
I don't typically eat it for breakfast, but I wouldn't tell somebody that it's not breakfast.
Is it a thing? Yes. Is it breakfast?
Also, yes.
Maybe there's two questions in there. I'm pleading for responses because I really want to know.
Oh my god.
Let's see.
We had slow weeks leading up to this, clearly.
Well, it's been fun. Maybe we'll think of more of these or if I can find more funny ones. But it was a great prompt, whoever started the question. And I love some of the answers. This kind of stuff is funny to me.
Hey, can we Kendall, we held having some Christmas conversations and Christmas debrief. I know we're in the middle of January now until you were back, but did you have any really beautiful Christmas moments or takeaways or gifts that you gave or received that you'd like to share?
We had, so the trip to Great Wolf Lodge was sort of our big Christmas gift to the kids this year.
Yeah.
Which was cool. And we floated the idea a few months back, like if we did something like this instead of, and they liked it then and they were legitimately surprised. It was a lot of fun to go. Amy and I we're not worried about Christmas gifts for each other. We're just pretty much, get what you want when you want to get it kind of thing, but we do keep Amazon lists. And so I did get some nice little gifts from the kids and from other family. Christmas Day, we had a little girl who was, Lydia was getting over a fever, which was, she was still fine and happy and everything, but we didn't want to take her to see my elderly parents. And so what normally would have been a day where we do our own Christmas morning, just the five of us, and sometime around lunchtime or so, we go over to my parents' house and sort of do Christmas again there. We just had Christmas Day all to ourselves and met up with them the following Saturday instead. And it was really nice. It was really good. So we played board games and hung out in our fancy new basement. And it was a good day. Awesome. And then we had that Christmas, and then we had the next Christmas on Saturday with them. And then we had another Christmas with Amy's parents in Cincinnati on New Year's Day. And then my sister and brother-in-law, who usually are able to be in town for Christmas, weren't able to this year. And so she had sent gifts for all of us, especially our kids. Like she sent gifts for our kids, which all showed up late. And which we told her, like, we're not worried about that. We're going to have an exciting another Christmas once all of those gifts get here. And so we got to do that. We had like another little Christmas moment. Then it was an elongated, wonderful, wonderful little Christmas celebration that we get. So
That's awesome. Well, I wanted to be sure to touch on that for posterity while your wreaths are still up behind you.
they
And
are.
make sure
I've
we got a
taken
chance to talk about it.
outdoor decorations down, but those are still up.
Both of our trees are still up. The live one is still kicking. So
Yeah.
it's been like a month, 6 weeks now. Is that right? And the lights are still up on the front of the house. So still
Very
feels
good.
like Christmas time around here. But now that we've discussed it on the podcast, we can take everything down. We, you guys know the cute little thing we've done in years past with the whole 4 gifts per kid in 4 categories: something you
Mhm.
want, something you need, something to wear, something to read. I forget where Sherry had seen that. It's annoyingly adorable. We've done that in years past. This year, we decided to do one big gift per kid based on their interests and their gifts and talents. And so, or their interests. Yeah, did I say that? So, Case Man loves rhythm. He got a drum set. It is this really cool pocket kit put together by Questlove, the drummer on The Tonight Show.
Mhm.
Probably where most people are familiar with him, but he plays with, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name of the band um, right now. Anyway, um, really great little kit. Sounds good. It says ages 4 to 10, but I can sit on the stool and play on it just fine. So I'm really enjoying teaching him some drumming basics. Chloe has really gotten into pottery at her school over the last semester. So we got her a pottery wheel, clay, and that's been really fun watching her throw on the pottery wheel in the garage. We've got a little heater out there, so we get that going for her so she can throw in the garage.
Great.
And then Lily, who's going to school to be a teacher and is in desperate need of a computer for college, for her birthday and Christmas and her graduation gift, got a MacBook. So super excited. So that's kind of what we did. Tons of Christmases. You guys know we did the Disney thing. And so it was a very hectic Christmas, but very full and good and fun. We've already scheduling is always an issue. I hate that it's a pain, but it is what it is. Looks like next year we're going to have 4 or 5 on back-to-back days next year. So, but hey, at least they're scheduled now, so that's good. But yeah, so that's our debrief. Same as you and Amy. We didn't really do anything for one another, Sherry and I, this year. Some years we do. Some years we do a little something. Some years we go all out. Some years we do nothing. This year was the latter. Dylan, any thoughts?
Yeah, it was I've joked with a few coworkers. It what feels true is you can pick fun or relaxing for the holidays, but you can't have both. So uh Christmas felt fun. New Year's was more relaxing, which was nice. And Finley's still at the fun age, our daughter, where it was like combination of brands like American Girl, Barbie, Lego. She got a Barbie Letterman jacket. She wanted an Adidas like sports bag to put stuff in. She got a little remote control car that flips. The wheels are actually on a single axis, like a plate that's a single piece into the car. So the whole sets of wheels can flip over if it runs into things, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. So it wasn't even expensive. It was just like a cheap little thing, but she's had fun with that. So she's at a fun age for picking out toys. And obviously,
Yeah.
what grown up is going to pass it playing with a remote control car, like,
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm going to need the link for that car.
yeah, I'll send it. There's a bunch of different colors. I might order myself one. Anyways, so that was really good. So just lots of getting around. Bree and I don't worry too much about big things for each other, but she wanted, I got a few things, some Buckeye hats and some Lego gift cards. She wanted some UGG. They're like the UGG boots, but like a sandal, like with a strap on the back. She was excited about those. And so, yeah, just it was a really good time. It was nice to have a few extra days off work. And I always love Christmas. We unplugged our lights outside about a week after New Year's, but all the inside decorations are still up. We got to put those away. So, you know how it goes.
That's fun. Well, I'm
Indeed.
glad we got to debrief that. And it was kind of cool too, because Lily's birthday is right after the first of the year, and she's been saving her pennies for months to do a big post-Christmas Pokemon card outing. So we found a Pokemon store at the Dayton Mall that is called the Original 151, which has imported cards, plushies, and Pokemon action figures, but it's all Pokemon. 151 for the original 151 Pokemon in the first generation. So we stopped at 4 different stores in Dayton and Columbus combined that sell Pokemon cards and plushies. The second place she found is in Columbus here called UGA Games, I believe. They have going back to Atari game consoles, video games, controllers, Pokemon cards, Funko Pops. Really cool little store. So shout out to them. They treated us right over there. And that was a really fun outing. It was just me, Lily, and Case because Chloe doesn't really care about Pokemon cards. But it was really fun seeing them spend their Christmas money and money they've saved for months from their teamwork/chores and having a fun outing with them. So yeah, that was cool. And you guys do anything after the first of the year?
It's been college football since. So,
Indeed.
yeah.
Big game coming up next week. Super excited.
We'll talk more about that, I'm sure. The national championship will be over one way or the other by the time we record again, I think. So that'll be a great time to do thoughts on the game and a recap of our first 12-team playoff. Maybe a quick one. That could be fun. But this does feel like a great spot to wrap it up this week. And we want to thank our friends over at Artiusman, ARTIUSMAN.com. Use promo code The Middle. You'll save 25% off your first order, which is great for them, great for you, great for us. So head over to Artiusman.com. Thank you for listening. Anything else?
No, sir.
That's it. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.